Must be Jason.
This would be Jason, yes. How's it going?
Excellent.
So what's Victor been doing these days in the land of kick-axe?
What have I been doing? Well, we've been doing some shows this year. Back in the end of January and February, some Canadian shows out west here. Winnipeg, Calgary, Regina, our hometown, or where we started anyways. I'd have to say Vancouver's hometown now, but yeah, and we've begun writing, and we're preparing to record again this summer some new material with our new frontman, Danny Nargang. And that's about it right now. Looking to do more shows through the summer as well. That's starting to shape up.
Well, that's looking good then, a new album. When you figure that's
yes,
going to be
indeed,
released?
number 5.
Number 5. When is it going to be a release, you think?
Well, that end of things, we're independent. We have our own label and everything. We're totally independent. So just when we're happy with it, I would like to see it out by the fall, though, late September, early October.
Are you guys going to do any promo videos for this new album?
That's hard to say. We have been on this last tour shooting live footage in Winnipeg and Calgary, so the people that are working on that have yet to submit us the edited version. That's about the only video stuff we have on the go right now for a possible collector's DVD sort of thing that would go possibly along with the new album.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all good stuff for Kick-Axe. How in all the years what you've been doing also, like, outside of Kick-Axe?
Oh, outside of Kick-Axe? Well, maybe I should start by saying that Kick-Axe ended suddenly back in the day, back in 1988, when our manager at the time killed us. So we could not, for legal reasons, we could not perform at all. So I started a band in Vancouver called Giant, and that went on for a little while, and till about 1990. Then I started jamming again with the Gilstrom brothers. We had a band called Lionsgate doing stuff, but sadly the grunge movement had begun, and what we were doing was not in vogue, or was not the flavor of the week, so that didn't happen. So we all just kind of did other things. Brian Gilstrom and myself got into the limousine business. Totally not music, but definitely showbiz. So yeah, and still going with that as well.
Driving the big people around.
Absolutely, yeah. We our agent from back in the day, the Sam Feldman agency in Vancouver, kept us going with all their present day celebrities, be it Elvis Costello, Diana Krall, all the stuff that they handle. Sarah McLachlan. Yeah. Anyways, it goes on, and so we're still in show business that way. But back at the turn of the millennium, say 2000, 2001, we started talking about seeing about our legal situation, and no one at CBS Sony Music would get back to us about anything. We just decided, well, let's just get back together, and so far there haven't been any court orders or sheriffs like there were in the late 80s stopping us from doing anything, so we're having a great time doing it.
And going to your bass collection, you got some interesting gear back in the day. Do you still own all this gear?
Oh, sure, yeah. They're all handmade guitars, built by a company out of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. It's Fury Guitars. And I've got some collector models, 5 of them actually. And I guess the most easily recognizable one that people would recognize is the Kick-Axe Space Bass, I call it. Kind of looks like a rocket ship, shaped like an axe or something, yeah. Something I dreamt up in 1982, and took them years to cave into me to actually make one. So I used to have two of those though, but one was stolen by our manager along with everything else that we owned.
That's not good. Why would somebody do such a thing to a great band like Kick Axe? You know.
Well, he didn't do it just to us. He also managed a great Canadian band called Streetheart and another prairie band here, friends of ours, called the Queen City Kids. I don't know if they made any noise out in the East Coast, but they were a great band, and he destroyed all three bands right off. Just everybody was done, and he took off to the Dominican Republic with all the proceeds of liquidating our touring equipment. Back then, we used to own everything: our front of house PA system, stage monitors, light show, everything, like full concert production, and the trucks to move it. And while we were in the studio recording, it was, let's see, where were we? We were in Toronto at Metalworks at Triumph Studio, and we had finished doing all the main tracks where we needed all the equipment, and it was all shipped to our warehouse in Winnipeg, and then we went to Los Angeles to work at Tasha Studios there with overdubs and vocals and stuff there. And while we were away, that's when everything disappeared. And yeah, it's all just a distant bad memory now. It's in the rearview mirror, you could say. Nothing much we can do about it. But yeah, he killed off Streetheart, Kick Axe, and the Queen City Kids all in one big swoop.
That is not good.
Yeah, he's a criminal, but the RCMP couldn't touch him. They tracked him to Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic, where he was living like a king off the proceeds of crime, but there was no, extradition treaty. He did his homework well to find a place to go spend the spoils of all of our hard labor.
Now, you made a super big single, Heavy Metal Shuffle.
Yeah.
This song would be played at every concert from then on.
Yeah, we always play that song. Yes.
What was the first feeling when you guys, wrote that song?
Well, I'll tell you something interesting about that particular song, Jason. It's the very first song. It's one of the very first songs that Kick Axe ever wrote. There was just three of us at the time when we started writing that song, but it was at the very beginning when we were kids that song was written. So it's really stood the test of time, and it just, I don't know, it was all about just wanting to take things as far as we could go.
Do you know that the first time I ever heard that song it came from a compilation album called White Hot and All Out Metal Assault?
Oh, yes. That's way back when.
Do you have a copy of that yourself?
I don't have a copy of it. No, I've been told about it so much. I'm not sure what how that came about or anything, but apparently that song is on many compilations around the world. There's a compilation that was only put out in Mexico. It's in Spanish, so I can't say it. Something in Spanish about metal warriors, but there's one in Greece, Japan. There was a compilation with Heavy Metal Shuffle on it. So, yeah, it's kind of one of those cult songs. It's staying alive.
How is the royalties for that song, if you get receiving anything?
It's probably, yes, the most active song for radio royalties that we get through our publisher, and yeah, it's not as great as it used to be, but it's still out there. It still gets played, and apparently it's played mostly out on the East Coast in New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, stations out there, FM stations, and sadly, in our hometown here of Regina, Saskatchewan, we're virtually ignored. We can't get anyone's attention here. So anyways, it's like the guys say, there was a reason we left for Vancouver way back when anyway, so.
It's like that when that song came out, on this White Hot and All Out Metal Assault album, it just pushed so hard, I guess, because everybody had this album for some reason. I don't know where I got it, but and then we discovered
actually,
Kick-Axe.
it had a lot of. I think it was probably CBS Sony that put that out. I've seen it on the internet for sale from now, time to time. It's on eBay or that sort of thing, and I look at it, and it's got all, I believe, label mates on there, other bands from CBS Sony. Focused most of our time in the United States, of course. We went back and forth across the United States several times supporting that the Vices album. We were very fortunate that Judas Priest heard Heavy Metal Shuffle on the radio, apparently in Calgary, Alberta, and tracked us down. Rob Halford just loved the song, and they tracked us down and came to our show in Winnipeg. They were playing at the arena, and we were playing in a crazy bar called the Black Knight. And the whole band came down right off. They came off stage and straight to this venue where we were playing. And the funny thing is, we were playing a Judas Priest song because we didn't have like a full night of all original material, so we'd play obscure Judas Priest songs, and we were playing "Take These Chains" from their "Screamin' for Vengeance" album.
Yeah,
and it's a song that they never ever played live, and so that was a real thrill to them to see us doing that. At the moment they walked in, that's the song we were playing, and it was that night that they said, okay, well, we want you to start on tour with us. And we thought it was just a dream. We thought they were crazy. We couldn't believe that we were meeting them. And no, we went, and we were supposed to start Madison Square Gardens in New York City.
Wow.
Except Great White wouldn't give up that show. They demanded that be their last show. They had the tour at the time. So, fine. We started in Pennsylvania. And yeah, it just kept going. After Judas Priest, we toured with Scorpions and played some Eastern Canada dates along with Eastern U.S. dates with them. It was great. We played Montreal Forum, which for us was a complete thrill.
I'm sure that was big. A lot of big acts went there too.
Oh, yeah.
And when you guys met Judas Priest, how long did you guys have to wait until you go on the tour? Was it 1 week?
Yeah, it happened very, very quickly. We were going from Winnipeg down to the States anyways, to Detroit and Milwaukee, Nashville. So we had to fulfill those commitments, and then we jumped right onto the tour with Priest in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
And when you get to that level, how is backstage treating you?
Well, it was fantastic. I must say, it was a real step up from what we were used to. It was just amazing. You're treated like royalty, I must say. They make food for you, all the beer you can drink. You got to imagine, for a bunch of guys that were 20 to 23 years old, it was super.
And playing with the band that you're playing the cover song the night before.
Yeah, exactly. The Judas Priest were heroes to us, and for them to really like us meant a lot. It kept us going for a long time, and actually it still does.
Do you recall the recording session of Vices at all?
I sure do. We did that in Hollywood with Spencer Proffer, who back in the day, he came and saw us playing in a tavern in Edmonton, a real godforsaken hellhole tavern. But we were laying it down, and the song, it's funny, because here it is again, Heavy Metal Shuffle was, when we played that song live, that's it. He said, okay, in 3 weeks you have to be in Hollywood. So it was winter time in Edmonton, like minus 40 below, snowing, and the next thing, 3 weeks later, we're in Hollywood. So, and it was really happening. And it only took 2 days to record the whole, like the bass and drums, the bed tracks as they call them. We were done in 2 days. So Brian Gilstrom and myself had a lot of spare time on our hands to go down to Venice Beach or hang out on the Strip. But yeah, it was just amazing. Canadian boys to be down hanging out with everybody else, like bumping into Eddie Van Halen and, people talking to you going, oh, so you're the new hot thing at Pasha.
Wow.
Because Pasha was the biggest label in the world at that time, with Quiet Riot being number one, and
yeah, true.
we were next. So,
And a single like Heavy Metal Shuffle, being part of your career, how many takes did it take you to make that song in the studio? Probably went real quick.
Real quick, yeah. Like I say, it was we'd been playing it since we were teenagers.
Yeah.
Since I was about 16, maybe 17 years old, when that song was composed, and it just stayed in our set. Everybody would always comment about that one particular song. I wish I could write another one like that. Maybe we will this session here.
It's maybe simplicity the best.
Mm-hmm. Yep, very simple song.
And very simple, but, very big at the same time. Anthem style.
Yeah, it's you don't plan these things, though. It just happens, eh? So, I don't know. Maybe we'll be so lucky when we all get back together in June here out in Larry Gilstrom's studio out on the Sunshine Coast of British Columbia. So, he lives in the forest.
Wow.
Has a studio there, so we can just concentrate on writing songs, because with our reunion thing that we did back in 2003 or whatever it was, 2004 I think it came out, I was living in Germany, everybody was spread out all over the place, and we were making that record from all over the world, so this time we'll all be together in the same rehearsal studio. So it'll be just like old times this time.
Did you do any side projects with a lot of people?
I did a few things where I kept my hand in it, so to speak. Carlos Cavazo, the guitarist of Quiet Riot, he called me in about 1989. There was a band forming in Los Angeles, and he thought I would be a perfect fit with this, but it didn't match up for me, and I'm trying to remember the name of this whole thing. Oh yeah, Johnny Crash, I believe it was called.
Okay, yeah, they got a few.
They
single.
made an album, maybe a second, but yeah, it just I didn't do it. I didn't quite like it. It was a little too. I'm trying to think of a nice word. It was a little too immature for me. The subject matter, and just they were trying to be a punk band with a grunge edge, and it wasn't my cup of tea. Let's just say that. But I thanked Carlos for suggesting me, and their management was trying to get me to come down to Los Angeles, and that was about the only big deal. And other than that, like I say, we all dropped music for a long, long time because we couldn't play together, and all of us had tried other projects here and there without any gratification. It always seemed to come back to the only music we wanted to play was kick-axe music. So here we are, we're back.
Welcome back.
Years later.
When's the last time you talked to Carlos Cavazo?
Let's see. Quiet Riot came to Vancouver in about 1996, and we had a little bit of a visit. Carlos and Frankie Banali didn't get to say hi to Kevin, though. He was just keeping to himself. So yeah, it was back in mid-90s.
You know that Carlos is playing with Rat now?
Yes, and I think it's great, and I can't wait. They have a new album coming out. I think it's going to be awesome.
You ever meet Randy Rhoads in your days?
No, sadly, he passed away, I believe, in what, 1980?
1982.
1982, yeah. We were just punks playing the bar scene in Western Canada back then, just plugging away, trying to find our way. And no, we didn't get to meet him, but Rudy Sarzo, when we were touring with Quiet Riot, he had lots of very interesting stories to tell about Randy. and about Ozzy, like his fondest memories of all of that. So he had lots of good stories to tell, Rudy Sarzo.
And he wrote a nice book.
Yes, I haven't read the whole thing. I've seen some excerpts.
It's very well written, and you should check it out when you get a chance.
I shall, on that recommendation.
It's really
odd
good.
That I haven't already, actually, but you know, you can't get to everything.
And basically for volume, how is the volume on the kick-axe stage these days?
Volume. Well, we've always been a loud band. Yeah, we're still loud.
Okay. You guys are not playing overly loud?
No, you can't, because you have to give your front-of-house sound man a chance. That was one thing we did learn doing stadiums, is that you have to rely on the front-of-house to make it all come through the PA properly. If we're too loud on stage, then he can't do his job right. And it was Judas Priest sound man at the time that taught us that. I must say they were great teachers. Everything about them was great.
You learn from the best.
Oh, yeah, from royalty.
From metal royalty.
Absolute.
Well, it's been a real pleasure talking to you, Victor.
And likewise, Jason. It's a pleasure, and I hope that we can come out your way to play some dates here soon.
Yeah, well, a great kick-axe show at Halifax, Nova Scotia would be very nice to see.
Well, if there is a demand for us there, we would certainly make the trip out to the East Coast. We would love to come that way again. We used to play a lot through there.
Okay.
There was a place called Crazy Horse in Dartmouth.
Crazy Horse, Dartmouth.
Is it still around?
I don't think that's still around.
Too bad, because it was beautiful.
So you liked it there?
It was great.
Like for the bar scene and that, because you guys played Halifax and Dartmouth plenty of times, I'm sure.
Yes, there was a place called Misty Moon, I think it was, in
Misty
downtown
Moon.
Halifax. That we.
Yeah, that's not there anymore.
Whoa, what's left?
What's left?
Is there a proper concert venue that's, say that holds 1,000 people?
Well, right now they're doing stuff. It's called the Canard Center. It's a big venue, and there's the Halifax Forum. There's the Halifax Metro Center, of course, which is for big places, and the casino.
Oh, is there a casino?
Yeah, there's a big casino right in Halifax.
And it has a show lounge or showroom or whatever you call it?
Yeah, showroom lounge, the Schooner Showroom Lounge.
Well, geez, I don't know, because it seems like we're getting a lot of interest from Canadian and U.S. casinos right now. We're looking at doing some casinos through the Midwest of the United States as well, along the Mississippi area.
Well, bands like Nazareth are still showing at the Halifax Casino. I can't see why a Kick-Axe couldn't make it to a casino.
Yeah, I should mention, you say Nazareth. We got to play a festival show with them last summer in Ontario, just outside of Thunder Bay, and it was really great. They loved us, and so maybe one day we could do some shows with them.
Yeah, Nazareth's still going strong and playing super loud.
Oh, yeah, they're loud. And they're so much fun to hang around with. We had a great time at this festival. It was on the side of a lake, Geraldton it's called. No. Yeah, it was really great. So if they're playing that kind of room and they're loud, I can't see why Kick-Axe couldn't come there. We'll have to start a petition.
We shall have to do that.
Okay, you take care out east there.
All right, you have a good time in the west.
All right, great chatting, Jason.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.